Finally, at last, the A7IV, it's here. So many things have happened in such a short amount of time. So about 2 weeks ago, Sony Alpha Rumors, which is pretty good when it comes to their tips and leaks and whatnot, they put out an article about 2 weeks ago that says Sony A7IV will be announced on October 21st, London time. So I already made an A7IV video, and I'll put that link right up here, about my wish list and things that, I want to see on that A7IV when it comes out. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this video. I'm going to do it next week. And then something happened this morning. Big news. So something happened this morning. Big news. I was out all day and I couldn't wait to get home to make this video. I had goosebumps all day. I was so excited. The Sony Alpha Instagram page put out this post. New camera coming October 21st, 2022, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I was like, oh, and it was just like, I got like chills. Like I was like, ooh, goosebumps, because I was thinking about it 2 weeks ago. And as soon as I got home to make this video, this very video that you're watching right now, which is probably going to show Tuesday morning because I'm filming it Monday night because I was out all day. Anyway, so as soon as I got home, I saw another leak from Sony Alpha Rumors. Apparently Sony messed up and Sony accidentally released their specs, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So the specs are as follows. Obviously, we're getting 4K. That's no brainer. It's been on most of these cameras so far. Eye autofocus, animal eye autofocus, eye autofocus movies, etc., etc. Silent shutter, FTP. I was expecting that. 4K 60. Now, this is a big feature for this A7 III, and I know a lot wanted, 120 4K, 10-bit 422 color, but they're not going to take away any sales from their A7S III and FX3 models. That would be a dumb move to make a camera half the price for all the features that you have to pay for on a bigger camera. So let's move on. So it's also got eye autofocus for birds, which is cool. I mean, I see 10 frames per second, which is not bad. I don't ever really shoot faster than 10 frames per second anyway. I know a lot of you probably like, man, that's dumb. Like it should have been faster, like 15 or 20. But honestly, I would rather have that for the A1 or the A9 models. Like this, you have to remember that the A7 line, A7 II, A7 III, A7 IV line, it's the foundation camera for which all the other cameras are built upon, because you have your resolution cameras like the Sony A7R series, the sensitivity for video, A7S series, and then you have the A9 for speed. Well, now you have the A1, which is the cum de la grace of the Sony cameras. And then we have 33 megapixels, which I saw coming. I didn't see them doing, 41 megapixels, the A7R series. And it makes sense because I don't see them doing like 40 plus megapixels on the A7 IV or staying with the 24 megapixels on the A7 IV. But I think 33 megapixels is the perfect sweet spot for this camera, because I bought an A7C and it had 24 megapixels downgraded from the A7R III just because of file size. But I was like, I wish I had a little bit more of a pull. Now I have my answer. Now I have my dream camera. And we're also getting the Bion Z XR processor, which is the same one that's used in the A1, the A7R4, and the A7S III. That is huge. Huge. They're putting the top of the line processor in this camera, and why not? It's the foundation camera. It's going to enable this camera to do so many things that it couldn't do before that the newer cameras could. And I hope with this camera having this Bion Z XR processor that we're going to get that touchscreen and that new menu system. Please let that be the case on Thursday. Please let us have that new menu system and the touchscreen, because I've really enjoyed when I'm on the FX3 and I'm taking some photos that I can actually like swipe, swipe, swipe between photos, zoom in, zoom out. I didn't realize how much I loved that feature until I could experiment with that feature. Then on the A7C, there's no touchscreen. So I'm like, the photo camera that I have doesn't do the touchscreen, but the video camera that's not supposed to be for photos does the touchscreen. A7 IV, hopefully this processor will provide us with this touchscreen. Hopefully. And also with this Bion Z XR, we're going to be getting 10-bit 422 color. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not only is this a huge deal for me, but now it can be a B camera and match the color profiles on my FX3. That's huge for me. But that's also going to allow us to have the next thing on this list. The A2i XAVC S-1 codec. Say that 3 times fast. That's huge. But I mean, everything in this camera seems like a dream come true. So that also brings us to S-Log3. S-Log3 is the color profile or lack of color profile that I use most of the time. It gives a great dynamic range. Well, speaking of dynamic range, we're also getting 15 plus stops of dynamic range. Now, is that 15 stops or is that going to be 16 stops? I don't know how that's going to work. But yes, we're getting S-Log3, and in the A7 III, and I know in the A7C, it does have S-Log3, but it doesn't work because I feel it's like 14 stops of dynamic range, if I'm not mistaken. So it's better off in S-Log2, and also that we have 8-bit color. So S-Log3 is not something I would normally use on the A7 III or the A7C. I'd probably stick with S-Log2, which doesn't match my FX3 in S-Log3. But a nice little touch that they're giving us is S-Cinetone, which is right now on the A7S III and the A1 and the FX3. I don't even know how to put it. Like their standard picture profile, it's not the standard mode, it's S-Cinetone. I have not had an issue with S-Cinetone. I've shot on it many times, and mostly during night type shots, because during the daytime I need that dynamic range between S-Log3. But when it comes to nighttime, when there's no real reason to use S-Log3 when there's pitch black, for me anyway, that's when I throw on S-Cinetone and I'll balance the scene and I'll expose the scene from there. We're also getting an S&Q dial, which slow and quick, just kind of makes your instant slow motion clip so you can play it back in slow motion on your, I don't know. I never use S&Q mode, so it doesn't really matter to me. We are getting a very angle LCD flippy screen. I know that there's some people that are going to be in the comments or watching this video and be like, I hate flippy screens, stop making flippy screens. But you know what? The photographer in me, I love the flippy screen because I can take vertical shots a lot, getting really, really low to the ground and not having to break my neck or lay on the ground to get them. I can just, bend over and take them. It makes it very easy for vlogging, or for instance, like this with the FX3, I have my screen right there and I can actually frame myself while I'm talking to the lens in this room by myself. Flippy screens. Thank you. Thank you. It's actually funny. In one of my older videos, I actually talked about Sony hopefully making a flippy screen. Like, come on now, Sony. Come on. You could do it. I have faith in you, Sony. I'll see if I can find that clip. I don't remember which of my older videos it's on, but maybe I'll find it. Come on. It's not... If Nikon could do it on the D5600 for $500, you could do it on a $3,000 camera. I know you can. I have faith in you, Sony. I have faith. I left Nikon. I went to you. Sony, come on. Just... It also says that we're getting 5 gigahertz of Wi-Fi, which, okay, it's cool, I guess. Gimbal. I don't know what that means. I'm wondering if it's referring to active steady shot, but we don't know. It just says gimbal. I don't know. USB 10 gigabytes of live streaming. I'm not going to use that. It's got the S-Cinetone A1. It's got the A7S III and A1 creative looks, which I don't really use those either, but that's cool. And 15 plus stops of dynamic range, which I had mentioned earlier. That is a huge list of specs. Now, could it all be rumors? Could it all be fake? Could it not be real? Let's be honest. The last time that the rumor mill was about 99.99% sure that we were getting this camera and these specs was the last time that the A7S3 was being rumored and released. And lo and behold, after the storm settled down with all the rumors, that's what we got. And Sony also announced publicly that we're getting a new camera on Thursday. Could it be a bait and switch and we get some kind of A6900 ASPC camera? I hope not, because the 66 is still doing pretty well. And A7III has been out for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. So it's time. And given the holiday season, it's the perfect time to release this camera. So hopefully that's what we get on Thursday. And now my little wish, my hopeful wish that they do with this Sony camera is make 2 versions. The standard black version, which we have on every single Sony camera. And I'm hoping that the A7IV has a version of the silver top like on the A7C. I think that that little top would be awesome. I mean, I really bought the A7C not just because of the flippy screen and the video stuff, but I wanted 24 megapixels. And the toss-up was between the A7 III and the A7C. The major selling point of the A7C for me was not the silver top, because that's not how you're supposed to buy cameras. You don't buy it on aesthetics alone. But it definitely helped me to make that decision over the A7 III, because the A7C and III are pretty much identical on the inside. So that's it for today's video. That's all the specs that I found. I'll probably link this article in the description below. And if you're watching this video, you're probably already wanting the Sony, which means you've already seen all the specs and the rumor mill and everything else. So hope you enjoyed that video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you want to see more Sony videos and cameras and lens reviews and all things camera and video and photography related. And hit that little bell notification if you want to be notified every time I put out a video, because YouTube doesn't want to notify you when we put out new videos. So until the next time, I will see you on the next video.